Sixers played the Celtics, hosted the Celtics, and lost 124-104. For me, I thought the game was over right when Peyton Pritchard and Cornet kind of went off for like what seemed like a 20-0 run between the two of them, which was unreal. Celtics hit 24 threes to the Sixers 8 threes. So we scored 24 points from threes, and they scored 24 threes. So kind of a rough one. But after the game, Embiid kind of had a lot to say about his injury and where he was at. And so here's Joel Embiid after the game last night.
Where I was playing a year ago, it's not the way I'm playing right now, and it sucks. But I believe I just probably need, to fix the problem, and then I'll be back at that level. But it's hard to have trust when you're not yourself. And yeah, I mean, not as dominant as I was a couple months ago. And but that doesn't mean I still can't have a lot of impact on the game. It's just me being out there, I think, helps a lot. Just my presence, ability to track double teams, getting guys more shots. But my dominant self, I get that. No, it's just tough because you can do so much more. But when it's just there's no excuses. It's just the way it is.
So obviously a lot to unpack from that quote there. But what did you guys make of the first game after All-Star break and Joel Embiid's post-game comments?
Well, I mean, this first thing I gather is some things is out of his control. That's the first thing. And I think, from my perspective, the most disappointing thing is I'm not on here to say I was right or I called it a long time ago. Is I just think they handled it so incorrectly. But from him being out and the way he looked when he came back, I'm not sure he's ever been good this year. And that's a disappointing part. And you can see and hear his disappointment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm kind of torn on it because I'm like, do you let him just be whatever percent he is and know that and see if that can help you win? Or do you try to get whatever procedure he needs done and give more time in between now and next season? But like I've said before, we don't know if that procedure is going to solve anything. We don't know. People always assume that someone gets a surgery or they gets a procedure that is supposed to all of a sudden make it better. In my experience, I've had surgeries. My son had a surgery, or I know people that have had surgeries. We've had surgeries, or they had surgeries that made them able to still participate, but it didn't necessarily make them better than what they were before. And that's a misconception with the procedures and surgeries. That people think that sometimes when you have them that you're going to come back and all of a sudden you're that same person that you were before. It's been a year, guys. It's been a year.
Yeah.
So it's been a year and we're still here. That kind of tells me that within that year, something was done, or things wasn't done, the decisions were made, and you're still here. So at what point did they say, okay, another procedure is probably necessary? That's the question that I think would answer a lot. Like, Was he told when he came out and said he may need a new procedure, or was he told this in September and October and he just decided to try to see if he can play through it?
But there are sources that say that no one in the organization thinks he needs another one. That's the weird thing.
They said they don't think. They said that they don't think he needs another one.
Yeah, there are sources that I thought I read, Marcus. Who reported that? Was it Newbeck or Bodner?
Eric Bodner of the PHLY, he said that he had talked to numerous sources within the organization, and they said there's no real magical like operation that's going to fix his knee. And he said so, like it's kind of this up in the air as what this operation is, because he said from people he's talked to, there's no like imminent operation for him. So that's just more uncertainty.
Yeah, it's more bad communication in a string of bad communications. So
whoever wrote that, right? Whoever said that, correct? And they watch the games?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You'd imagine they watch the games, right? So they can watch him play and they don't think that anything needs to be done?
I think I'm not an avid listener, but I listen enough to know that he knows something's wrong.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if people are like, people can actually come out with a quote like that and say there's nothing, no kind of procedure that can fix it. So are you saying that he's offended, he's done?
Like this is it for him? Like this is what he's going to be?
That's what I'm taking from that quote. Like there's no procedure that can fix it. Like, well, what do you mean it can't fix it? This is tolerance now? It's a tolerance injury? So did he hurt his meniscus? Was that what it was last year?
Yes.
His meniscus?
Yeah.
Oh, he's bone on bone. He's like me. Everything I've been telling you guys, that's what it is. He's bone on bone.
So what would another surgery do then?
It kind of depends on whether they repaired it or they just shaved it down. For my instance, they shaved it down, which made it smaller. It was a little piece, like pieces that were off, and they shaved it, and that made it temporarily good. But as time going on, like now, I don't have one almost on the inside of my knee. My left one, my right one's almost like that. So you guys don't probably have an experience, but I know a lot of people have. Like you walk in and you just take a step and you feel like your leg's gonna give out, or you just have a little sharp pain if you take a wrong step down the step or something like that.
Yeah.
Like all of that stuff. Try to exercise when I exercise and try to lose weight. It swells up. I walk, it swells up. I stand for coaching, it swells up. So I hope he's not where I'm at. I really do. Because I retired because of that. I didn't retire. I had a broken ankle with a plate and 7 screws in it that I played with for 7 years with it. And at no time did that make me feel like I needed to retire. I lost flexibility in it. I lost strength in my right ankle and everything. Strength, speed, I lost everything from it. But I never felt like I needed to retire because of that. But as soon as my knee happened and I was getting drained, the knee was getting drained and it'll still swell back up, I knew I was done. I hope, like I say, I hope he don't have that. I really don't. I mean, I really, so, but I've been saying for a while that his injury looks and smells like mine.
What's crazy to think about is that what if we didn't give him that extension right now? What if we were sitting here and he was an upcoming free agent soon? There'd be all this chatter about all this stuff would be times 1,000 right now.
Well, I mean, it would be a lot more secrecy with everything if that was the case.
More secrecy?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty secretive right now, but yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, he definitely wouldn't have said he needed no surgery if he was an upcoming free agent. That's for sure. But yeah, I think about that sometimes. I'm like, man, like, there would be a lot of "don't re-sign Joel" tweets out there.
There's a lot of trade Joel tweets out there right now.
Yeah,
so.
well, that ain't happening with the money.
No, I'm just saying to that same point. Yeah, a lot of Sixers fans who want to get rid of him now.
Yeah.
But just look at his meniscus history. So in 2016, 2017, he had a season-ending left meniscus injury in 2016, 2017. In 2021, small meniscus tear in his right knee. And then last year, the displaced flap in the lateral meniscus of his left knee. They cut a torn piece of the meniscus in his meniscectomy procedure that he had last year.
Is that not basically what I just said?
Yeah.
He's basically bone on bone. So I know there's some procedures that I was told that you can pretty much replace the meniscus. But like I said, I have those conversations to walk and do the stuff that I do now.
Yeah, be functional.
Not try to play NBA basketball.
Be functional in the world without having pain. Yeah.
Yeah. So without, ever trying to consider a knee replacement. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm there, try to, do that. But I do know that there are some procedures that people, just totally replace the meniscus. And the one thing I was told, like I said, my legs are a little bold below my knees, so that matters a lot for me because it puts more pressure on the inside of my knees where my meniscus is. There's some people that I believe Jordan or some other people that played without a meniscus and played a lot. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's different as far as how they handle it too. But Joel, and with his size and what he plays, I think that this is going to be an ongoing issue. That being said, he can still be a productive guy in the NBA. It's just a matter of, how consistently productive as far as his games will be the issue. So he can play. I mean, even though he didn't score a lot this last game, but I think, days off, he can go out and still get you 20 and 10. It's just you just gonna have a different guy. You're gonna have the guy that's rebounding, blocking shots, running, and doing all of that. I guess but the Sixers need to figure out what they're gonna do with this. This, how can I say it? Him saying one thing and sources saying another.
Yeah.
I do believe that for Joel to say that, and then somebody would come out and say sources said differently, somebody wanted that out there to object to what he said.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he never plays again, he'll get his money, but I would imagine what the Sixers deal with the insurance is. Whether, insurance is still paid.
That's the thing. I mean, I don't see him not playing. I just see him not playing every 3 games for the rest. I mean, he could probably do that for another 4 years, right? I mean, rest 2 games, play again. I mean, like, are we going to win with that? No, probably not. But I don't know. It's a weird situation because it's not like it's a guy who played like 80 games every year, and then all of a sudden this is unacceptable for him. We've gotten used to kind of working around Joel's rest management schedule for so long that it all kind of feels normal to us.
Yeah.
Do you think it's optimistic for him to say that all I do is I probably need to fix the problem and then I'll be back at that level, that dominant level? Is that just hopeful talk? I mean,
yeah, I think it's hopeful talk. because no procedure is guaranteed. None is 100% guaranteed. So we don't know because he's already had a procedure, right?
Well, yeah, and Morey said he spoke to the 8 specialists before they gave him that contract, and they said,
okay,
he'll get better.
So
it's taking longer than we
either
expected.
he never got better or something else happened. Like, that's the part that we also aren't told.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never missed a practice during the Olympics. And then what happened in that period?
Looked better in the Knicks series. How about that? He was more active in the Knicks series. He did. He did that.
I think he can.
He did that throw of the backboard dunk, and then got injured again, and still looked pretty decent after that.
Yeah, I mean, you playing.
You wouldn't dare try that kind of move right now.
I know, but what I'm saying is, I think that if you get him to the playoffs, he can do that. I believe that he can do that. But I also believe that something else happened since then. Yeah. I don't believe this is the same injury as last February.
You think something else happened?
I believe something additional happened. Yes, that's my belief.
That's the extra piece that I think would make sense to a lot of people.
Yeah,
that's what's so confusing about it all. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. You've not improved since last year?
A procedure a year ago. So I'm just saying, it was a procedure a year ago, and you never improved, and then now we're here in a year later, and you're like, oh yeah, well now I need another procedure. At no time during that time did they see anything else needed to be done.
Rough.
It's terrible.
Did you see? I did notice in the Celtics game, people were posting clips after the fact that on their defensive coverages, they were letting Oubre shoot, and they were just playing. They were kind of high fronting Embiid with the guy who was guarding Oubre and letting Oubre just kind of do whatever he was doing. And obviously, on defense, I mean, putting him in a drop coverage, that was rough to watch. Embiid trying to kind of be able to. I mean, they were just like finding him and going after him last night, and that's the part where it's like, that's, as a fan of Embiid, that's sad to watch, to see him obviously, favoring his leg a little bit there. That's the part that's just hard to watch, see him out there like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough part about the playoffs, because that's all the playoffs it would be. The difference with Boston is Boston has the talent across the board to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Not everybody has guys that 1 through 5 shoot threes. And then you bring in 6 that can shoot 3, 6 or 7 that can shoot threes. And then they shot it well. So yeah, that's a tough matchup. But when you show that you're going to continue to drop coverage, that's what you're gonna get. I mean, it's ways to, if you want to drop, is ways to go over the top and still make them try to drive, but I don't know. But then they just throw it back to the other guy. You got to come out and guard somebody. Yeah, I mean, it's ways that you can deal with that. It's things that you can do defensively. You can run and jump. You can in full rotate and have guys like you can. There's things you can do. I don't know if teams do that stuff anymore, especially during the regular season.
Did you? There was a quote here that kind of a lot of people were running with last night, making fun of Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse, yeah. So Nick Nurse was asked about his rationale in going zone against the three-point launching Celtics last night, and he said since the Sixers were already giving up threes in man, it was worth trying to change their rhythm with his zone defense look. And a lot of people were saying, you're going zone against a team that's just launching threes at you. I mean, do you find any problem with that? A lot of people were just saying our man wasn't working anyways. let's go to a zone to see if that can stop them from launching threes at us.
I believe believe and understand that you try to make a change. I don't know if zone was something I would have done for a team that was already shooting threes. I think zone just opens up more angles for threes, and it makes it harder to rebound. I would be more inclined to go zone when teams are penetrating your defense and getting in the paint. More so than teams that they do the same thing. Just set a pick and roll and pick and pop. I mean, they got 5 guys on the perimeter. Like you can match up, but you can't match up when they still have guys that can drive your zone and draw 2 people. And you got to be very disciplined to play that zone and only let one guy stay on the ball handler. And like I don't know if they spend that much time with it. Zone works if the teams are shooting the ball well, but shooting will always win against the zone.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there's other things that you can do defensively if you want a guy to be in drop coverage. We kind of did some of that with the late Dikembe. We would, but we had maybe we had the personnel to do it. I don't know. You can have me or Allen coming off. Allen didn't like guarding pick and rolls at all, so we had to do different stuff. It was harder for him to get over top of some of the pick and roll, so we could run and jump, and the guy come off the pick and roll, and the center they wouldn't let his guy roll, and we come off, and it's almost like a trap, and then we rotate out, and then Allen was so fast he could always get to the furthest guy away. So you eliminate sort of a clean look, but you eliminate Allen really teams putting him in a lot of pick and rolls. So that was something we kind of did to certain teams that had a lot of shooting. There was other things that you could do. I don't know if they spend that much time on defense. The pick and roll for, with the personnel, if a guy's a right-hand guy and you play him one way if his pick and roll is going right, you play him another way if his pick and roll is going left. If he's on the left side, you do one thing. If he's on the right side, you do one thing. He's up top, you do another thing. If he's on the right side, he's with a pick and pop guy, you play a certain way. If he's with a guy that don't pick a pop, you play it another way. Like, I don't know if they put that much emphasis on defense nowadays. I don't think they do.
Well, judging by the amount of threes we give up, I'm going to say
that's
no.
what I'm saying. So if a team is shooting well, you just say, "Oh well."
Yeah, we've been saying, "Oh well."
It's "Oh well," we goes on. So
we've been saying,
I don't know if I don't know. I know teams probably do that in the playoffs. I do believe that they do it in the playoffs. I don't think they do that during the regular season. I don't think they put that much on defense. But most of my years, it was, especially early on, there was a lot of veteran guys. So you did stuff like that. And you have to talk it out and know who's in the pick and roll. And we didn't play the pick and roll. Like, I'll just say Philly, for instance. Like, we didn't play the pick and roll if Tyrone Hill was involved or George Lynch was involved versus Dikembe involved. Like, we didn't always play that the same way, even though we're pick and roll with Kobe Bryant. We may play it differently based on who's in it. We played it differently based on whether Shaq is setting the screen or Robert Horry setting the screen. You can't play everything the same.
100%, yeah.
So I think a lot of days nowadays they just kind of play everything the same. They don't based on personnel or your personnel or their personnel. It's just like, this is how we do it. And this is what we're going to do no matter who's in it.
Well, with Boston, I guess you could, because like you said, everyone can shoot.
Yeah, so you have to basically what they're saying is you got to come out and guard. You got to come up off that paint because we got 5 guys. We're going to continue to put you in the pick and roll. Either the ball handlers are going to come off and shoot, or if they get over the top, then we're going to pop the screener, and then you're going to have to come out to the screener. But there's ways to get over that too. You got to full rotate. You got to just rotate, then and you get the guy to come in. Somebody else can rotate instead of Joel. There's ways around it. where Joel could never get in rotation. Now you got to work, but you got to work at it, and you got to be about who you do. So now that we see this is where Joel is, that's something they have to be thinking about. That's something they have to put in.
Yeah.
What can we do to contest these shots and keep Joel out of as many rotations as possible? That's up for them to figure out, but that's what's needed.
That's why there's levels to this. Larry Brown and Nick Nurse. Maybe even a little more of a drop off there. Yeah. Did you guys? One thing I will say is this is Boston's premier team in the league, and I feel like a lot of people online wanted to be upset about the Sixers losing last night. Did you guys expect us to win that game last night? You know, the 7 days off. Did you guys expect us to win that game last night? Because it seemed like a lot of Sixers Twitter was surprised that we lost that game last night. Maybe
I think based on how we played against them on Christmas Day and knowing that they're a top team and we had it, all those guys played, I would assume that it would have been a closer game. I think my disappointment was that it was really not close from early on.
Yeah.
If they kind of pull away later in the game, I kind of know that wasn't a 20-point game. But it was probably more than a 20-point game the way the game went.
Yeah, it's disappointing, but not surprised.
It was 20-point game for the majority of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I don't understand why people are so surprised anyway, though. You're not going to magically fix your problems. I mean, we were struggling against bad teams before the break. Why all of a sudden we come out and beat the best team in the league?
It ain't about beating them, but I think I don't know if people were necessarily surprised we lost, but I think maybe people were surprised that we didn't seem very competitive.
Yeah. But that's been the story. I mean, that was a story against the Pistons. A story against a lot of teams. We're not competing in games.
No, I'm just saying as far as competitive, like it didn't seem like it was a close game. Like we seemed like we're nowhere near their level.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Especially
I'm just guessing that that's what people are thinking.
Yeah.
Especially when you look on paper too, right? It looks like it should be a lot closer. You're like, man, we got him. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. With everyone playing, so with everyone playing, right? Except I don't know whoever didn't play, Drummond or whatever.
Gordon, I think just Gordon.
Just said for the most part, your main guys played. Now we know Joel to be limited, right? But after a break, you don't assume for everybody else to be limited. So in a game where Joel can give you close to 20 points, you would expect that Maxey and Paul George can make you competitive. Keep you competitive. That wasn't the case. So that's a little disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah, disappointing, definitely. I'm not. I'm
not surprising to me, but disappointing.
I'm
the outcome.
Yeah, I
especially
guess
the last time we played, we had that 27-point lead going into like the third quarter. I mean, we didn't have Embiid or Paul George. We showed more life in that game. We ended up losing because they went on a tear in that fourth quarter, but we showed more life in that game without our two stars.
I think I'm disappointed that we're not more pleasantly surprised by how close the game can be. I guess is the best way to put it. Because, this doesn't surprise me because that's been our play for a long time now. But you actually see it and you're like, man, we're getting dismantled here. It's like not even.
Yeah, because I guess it takes away the excuse of, our guys need rest. You know, where we're injured, we need rest. And we had, 7 days off and come back to that. But on the positive side, Paul George was our high point guy last night, 17 points, and I think he was 7 of 14. So, I mean, a pretty efficient game from him. So, we're getting in the right direction, moving in the right direction with Paul George. So,
Pulse.
Yep.